All right, everybody. In Chapter 5, what we're going to be talking about is solving what are called systems of equations. So 5.1, we're going to focus on solving systems of equations through graphing. So first of all, let's talk about what a system of linear equations is. So system of linear equations are a set of two or more equations containing an equal number of unknowns. You'll see here I have two equations, 2x minus y equals 2, 2x plus y equals 6. Both these equations are linear functions where I have x and y that represent my inputs and outputs. Essentially, what we're going to be doing in these next couple sections is trying to solve these systems of equations. You'll notice here that I have two unknowns. I have x, which represents my input, and y, which represents my output. Again, two unknowns, and I have two equations that are both different. I know we have a 2x, I have a minus y and a plus y, a 2 and a 6. So each equation is different from each other. So our goal is to try and use these two equations to figure out what x and y are. So our goal is what we're going to try and do is find what's called a solution to a system of linear equations. A solution is going to be an ordered pair of x and y that is going to make both equations true. So let's say, for example, that I had the two equations from before, 2x minus y equals 2 and 2x plus y equals 6. So let's say that I have a solution. So when I try and solve any equation, I'm trying to figure out the x and the y, or whatever variable it is, what variable makes the equation true. So when I give a 2 and a 2, an ordered pair, that ordered pair represents an x and it represents a y. And what it means for that to be a solution is that if I were to plug 2 and 2 into my equations, so notice here I'll plug it into my first equation, I'll plug the 2 in for x and the 2 in for y, then when I simplify this left side, when I solve this, what I would get is a true statement, 2 equals 2. Similarly, if I do plug it into the second equation, if I plug in 2 for x and 2 for y, here I'd get 2 times 2 plus 2. When I simplify this as well, I'll get 6 equals 6 with a true statement. So a solution is going to be a value of x and y, an ordered pair that is going to make both of the equations true within this system. So a system of equations is going to be two or possibly more equations that contain two or possibly more unknowns. And a solution is going to be an x and a y that is going to make those equations true. So in our first example, what we're going to look at is how to determine if a ordered pair of x and y is a solution. So let's say I give you a systems of equations. So x plus y equals 7, that is one linear equation or linear function with input output. And I have a different one, 2x minus 3y equals negative 11. So I have two separate equations, and what I want to know is this point 2, 5 a solution? So when you look at this point, understand every point, every ordered pair has an x paired with a y, an input paired with an output. So my x or my input is 2, my y or my output is 5. So what I want to know is this a solution? So determine if it's a solution. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two numbers, 2 and 5, and I'm going to plug them into each equation separately. And my goal is to see, do I get a true statement? So first of all, I get x plus y equals 7. That's my first equation. So I have here x plus y equals 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug 2 in where x goes. I'm going to plug 5 in where y goes. And I want to know when I add those two things together, do I get 7? So obviously 2 plus 5 does give me 7. So notice how that makes a true statement. So that's good, but I want to make sure it works for both. So I'm going to also plug this into the second equation. 2x minus 3y equals negative 11. When I plug this in here, notice that there's a number in front. That number is called a coefficient. So when I plug my value of x in, it's essentially saying 2x means 2 times my x value, which in this case is 2. I'm then going to subtract from that 3 times the y value, which is 5. So when you see those numbers in front of the x and the y, we're going to multiply. Then I want to know, does that equal negative 11? So essentially what I got to do is simplify this. Well, 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 5 is 15. So if I subtract 4 minus 15, I want to know, do I get negative 11? And when I do, I certainly do get negative 11. So again, they work out for both. So because this point of 2, 5 makes both equations true, this one is a solution. So I'll write yes, It is a solution because it makes both equations true. I'll try the second one. So again, I'm going to plug x and y into the equation. I have my x value of -2 and my y value is 0. Oopsies, that's my y value is 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug those into each equation for x and y. You'll see that in this case, x and y are written, the equations are written a little bit differently. If you remember back to linear functions, this first example, these were written in what are called standard form. Ooh. And then these two are going to be written in what's called slope-intercept form. Ooh, ooh. All right? So it doesn't matter where x and y are. If I want to know if it's solution, I'm going to plug -2 and 0 into the equation where I see x and y. So I'm going to start off with my first one. First equation is y equals -2x minus 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug x and y in for those two spots. When I do that, I get 0 equals -2 times 5 minus 4. So I'm going to simplify then the right side. First thing I would do is multiply -2 and 5 to get -10. And then I have the minus 4. And last step there, if I just take -10 minus 4, that would give me -14. So I want to know then, does 0 equal -14? In this case, that is not a true statement, so that does not work out. So right away, I can tell that this one is not a solution because it does not make both equations true. I don't even have to check the second one because it doesn't make the first equation true. So I'll write no, not a solution. The reasoning why is because it does not make both equations true. It makes this one into a false statement. All right, now what we're going to do is try and solve this now by graphing. So in the last example, I gave you the solution. And that's kind of the thing to keep in mind, is the solution is going to be one in which both equations end up being true. So now what we're going to do is actually solve this. So to solve this, what we're going to do is something we learned a long time ago on graphing linear functions. So when I graph a linear function, there's two ways to graph it. We have to remember the standard form, ax plus by equals c, where I could use the cover-up method to solve for something. Cover-up means I would cover up the x and figure out what y is, or cover up the y and figure out what x is, and find those two intercepts to graph. The other way to graph a line is written in what's called slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, where the two pieces of information given to me are going to be m, which is the slope, and b, which is the y-intercept. So you'll notice in these examples, I'm giving you problems written in slope-intercept form. So if I want to graph these lines, start off first with the slope and the intercept. So here I have -2 and 5. So to graph this, I'm always going to start with my intercept. My intercept is at +5. So I'm going to put 5, or point at 5, in the middle of my graph. Now the -2, if you remember, my slope being -2 means it's -2 over 1. The -2 represents my rise, and the 1 represents the run. So this line would go down 2 and right 1. So from 5, I would go down 2 and right 1, and I'm going to plot a bunch of points there and then draw my line. So again, slope-intercept form. I'm going to do the same thing with the blue line. Here it says 4x minus 1. So I would start at -1. My slope here is 4. That means I would have a slope of 4 over 1, which means this line is going to go up 4 and right 1 from that point. So right 4 and up 1 would put a point there. Then it would put a point right here. And that's really all I need when I draw these two lines. What I want you to notice is, wait a second, baby shotties. These two lines intersect right here at this point. That point would have the coordinates of 1, 3. Well, guess what? 1, 3, whoopsies, 1, 3 is the solution. That is the point where both those lines intersect. Now, what does it mean again to be a solution? Is that if I were to plug 1, 3 into both of these equations, it's going to make them true. Watch this. I'll do this quick. So I'm going to plug in 1, 3. I'm going to plug in x is 1, y is 3 into both equations. Let's see what happens. All right, so notice I plugged in 3 and 1 in for x and y. First equation, I ended up simplifying, getting 3 equals 3. Again, works out. Second equation, y equals 4x minus 1. I plug 3 in for y, 1 in for x, and I get, again, 3 equals 3 when I simplify. So notice this point is what makes both equations true, and that is y is its solution. So what we're doing is we're solving this system of equations by graphing, and the key thing is wherever those lines intersect, that is going to be the solution to this system, finding the value of x and y that make both equations true. All right, next example, get the same thing written in slope-intercept form. I have negative x plus 5, so negative x plus 5. Notice that in front of this negative x, if you guys remember, would technically be a negative 1. So I'm going to start at plus 5. My slope of negative 1 means negative 1 over 1, which means down and over. So if I just plot a couple points here, go down 1 over 1, I can draw my line that looks like this. Nice. Next one, I have 2x minus 1, so I would start here at minus 1. That slope is positive 2, which again means 2 over 1, which is up 2 over 1. So a little reminder, you'll see this in both these examples. When my slope is a whole number, we always put it over 1. So here I would go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. You can already see that when I plot those points, ooh, it's kind of nasty. My lines intersect at this point right here, which would have coordinates of 2, 3. And again, that intersection point is going to be the location of my solution. In this case, I'm not going to check it, but it's a solution because if I were to plug it in, it's going to make both equations true. All right, this last example we're going to do is just solve a little real-life example modeling problem using the system of equations as well as solving it by graphing. Key thing here, tough part for you guys is going to be writing down the equation. So it says here we have a roofing contractor that buys 30 bundles of shingles, and 4 rolls of roofing paper for $1,040. It says in a second purchase at the same price for each, the contractor buys 8 bundles of shingles for $256. So must have ran short. And I want to know what's the price for shingles and the rolling paper. So first thing I'm going to have to do is write the system of equations. So the first sentence essentially gives me one of them. 30 bundles of shingles, 4 rolls of paper for $1,040. So think about this as the shingles as being my one variable, call it x, and the roofing paper as being my second variable, call it y. So when I write this as an equation, it's going to be 30x plus 4y equals 1,040. Right? That's just talking about the money, where x and y is going to represent the price of each one. Now my goal is I have to graph this. Okay, now there's 2 ways to graph this. Notice that this is in standard form. So I could graph this using what's called the cover-up method. Unfortunately, that's not going to work out for us in this case because 30 does not go nice and clean into 1,040. So instead, what I'm going to have to do is write this in what's called slope-intercept form. That is y equals mx plus b, where I have y alone by itself. So I'm going to have to isolate in this problem the y on the left side. To do that, I got to first get rid of the 30x. I'm going to do that by subtracting 30x. What that would give me is 4y equals negative 30x plus 1,040. I wrote it like that just to keep things in the right order. And then lastly, I would divide both sides by 4. And on the right side, I want to divide everything by 4. So what I would get is y equals, now, negative 30 divided by 4 does not work out evenly. So here's what I'm going to do. Just for the sake of this problem, I'm going to leave it as negative 30 over 4x, and you'll see why. Now, 4 does go into 1,040, and it does so 260 times. So let me highlight this in red. This is going to be our first of our equations. And again, I'm going to graph this. So negative 30 over 4x plus 260. That means I'm going to start all the way up here at 260. I'll show this in red. All right, that's 1 above 250. My scale goes by tens here. What says I'm going to go down 30 and over 4. So think of each box as down 10. So 10, 20, 30, and then over 4. So down 30 would be an over 4 right there. Then I'm going to go down 30 over 4, again right there, and I would continue that on. And in the end, my graph would look like this. Again, I went down 30 over 4 continuously to the end. So that's my first equation. Now my second equation comes from the second sentence. Second sentence says in a second purchase, he buys 8 bundles for that. Now notice in the second one, he does not buy any rolls of paper, so just bundles. Now remember, bundles we labeled as x. So I would write this just like I did before. Instead of 30x as 8x, there is no rolling paper, so I'll say 0y equals 256. Now I don't really have to write 0y, But what I would get in the end is 8x equals 256. Now this one I can actually go ahead and solve for x right away. Notice that I have 8x equals 256. If I just divide both sides by 8, shebang, shabop, that's going to tell me what x is. And that would give me 32. Okay? I'm going to represent this in blue. So x equals 32. So as a point, 32 would be all the way, oops, I'll show this in blue, all the way over here, 2 to the right of 30. X equals 32 would technically be a line that goes straight through that point. So in this case, we'd go straight up and down. So what does that mean then? Again, I'm trying to find the intersection point. Well, hey, the intersection point is right there. Now, that intersection point would have an x value of 32 and a y value, if I use my scale, okay, it goes 2 boxes up, so that would be all the way over here. That would be 20. So my y value would be 20. So that's, again, my x and my y. So that means, in this case, my shingles would cost $32 each. In this case, the rolls of paper, I'll just say paper, it's going to cost $20 each. Now, obviously, in this last example, we had to do this word problem. Notice that when we have to graph, it gets a little tedious. I got to make sure it's written in the right way and all that stuff. The order's got to be right. So a little bit of extra work here. So as we go throughout this chapter, we're going to talk about easier ways to solve these systems of equations. But our goal, again, in the system of equation is to take the system that has 2 unknown variables and try and take the equations and solve them for the common variable, trying to figure out what are the values of x and y that make both those equations true. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed, and good luck on those practice problems. Bye now.